first of my builds here is the Pillar of Autumn. It's been a 3.5-year effort. I got inspired to do this from one of Mark Kelso's ships that he had built several years ago. We pretty much started on 2 ships at the same time. My Pillar of Autumn, his Spirit of something, I just blanked, sorry. This year, we made a bet, $1,000 bet, cash against one of his paintings, worth $1,000, that we both show up with a ship this year, completed. Unfortunately, he won an award. Congratulations, Mark. Couldn't be here, and so all I had to do to win the bet was finish my build. So on site, 19 hours on site, just finishing this baby up to make it work. No idea how many parts. It's over 100 kilograms of Lego at least. More money than I care to mention. So at least a trip to Hawaii for my wife. So, but hey, it's Father's Day, so it's about me today anyway. So
definitely. Now, one interesting thing about this is the way you merge the different kinds of tiles, different colors. How did that work?
Because the ship is very plain in of itself. Really, it's just a great big slab-sided series of angles. I wanted to think of some way to make it look visually more interesting other than just plates covered in gray tiles. So I decided to use a mixture of the old gray, new gray, make it look like it's seen a lot of battle. It's been battle damaged, plates have been pulled, plates have been replaced, and a few little artistic freedoms like the ribs that run down the side, just to add some visual interest to the build. One little fun fact about this build, in calculating the measurements for the side panels and the angles, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, works really well if you don't forget to account for the width of the top, which I did. So it looked very squat at first, and I actually had to rip the whole thing apart, that whole middle section, and put it back together again. Okay. It was devastating.
What's the inside like on that then? Is it just a lot of support? Are there rooms?
I can actually show you.
Okay, awesome, yeah. Take a look inside here real quick.
On the table, right at one of the back edges.
Okay, so that's what it's like inside there.
There's about 1,000 Technique pieces in there holding this thing up. I suspect, I haven't tried it, but I suspect you could sit on that no problem. So. But knowing I was going to have to travel 3,000 kilometers with it minimum, here, 3,000 back, I wanted to make sure that the display would hold up to the movement.
Okay.
And not rip apart. So
sure.
Probably way overbuilt from what it needs to be, but better overbuilt than underbuilt.
Yeah, that way it doesn't arrive in 10,000 pieces when you get here. So you just move that back in and it connects nicely. Now this part right here was, this is a lot of rounded here. How did you achieve that?
So what I built was a substructure entirely out of 1x2 bricks, some plates as well, some snot plates, snot bricks, and then I laid down a whole bunch of the just 2x-N plates over top of it, and then I used those to attach pieces to give it this look. Afterwards, when I looked at it, there's a few things I really wanted to do. I might attempt for next time is actually make things like this rotate.
Okay, yeah.
So I could probably pull out a couple of the 1x2 bricks, put in a motor, gearing system. Might require a little bit of something to lubricate it to spin, but add a little bit more visual interest. And I think I'm going to change these over to EL wire.
Okay.
So then it can pop a bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, they're sturdy as heck. My wife was looking at them because they pull apart, they sit upright, and she said that they make a very lovely garbage can for the bathroom. So
another use there, possibly.
I didn't even know what to say. I just stopped. I looked at her. Really? A garbage can. Thank you. Another funny thing, they had that real estate thing going on in the hallway over here. Kevin Walter and I were carrying the engines down, and there was a lady sitting there talking with some advisor. She looked at us, started to do this, and then leaned back in her chair. So I don't know what she thought we were carrying, but I'm pretty sure if it was anything that bad, the leaning away wasn't going to help. So there we have it, 3.5 years in the making, at least 300 hours of build time. The engines were 120 hours, plus the 18.5, 19 hours here on site, overnight, done.
That's incredible. Now, when you're working on a massive build like this at your house, do you have just a big table you set up with it, and how does that work?
Well, this is actually the first time I've seen it together myself. I have to build it in components and kind of hope it works out. I just don't have that amount of space to set things up without setting it up on the dining room table, which is pushing things a bit. So already for this year, my floor looks like a kid's room where there's just little pathways in the family room where we can kind of walk through safely, not step on Lego. And I just mostly sat on the floor, actually, and built a lot of this. So it was just the biggest sheer space I had. My work table is only 4 feet by 4 feet, so...
Limited with a massive build like this then.
No, it takes up a lot of space, so... I mean, thankfully, I guess that I did have to drive it here, because I built it in components, so it made it easier to operate within the house.